Hi, I have a message today for someone who knows that they came here to do something really big. And what Spirit wants you to know is that you know this with such conviction because your soul was promised by your spirit team that what you came here to do, you will achieve. There was a promise made to you before you incarnated that this promise would be delivered. This is the message I'm getting, is your promise will be delivered. And of course, when you incarnate here, you don't remember anything from before, from your spirit self, from your soul self. You come here on purpose as a human, knowing that you were going to come here and forget your connection to spirit. But you agreed to come here to experience your exact life in this lifetime. But you were still promised to achieve something that your soul wanted to achieve that could only be achieved through this physical lifetime on earth at this exact time, in this exact form that you were in, the exact circumstances that you were born into, the exact experiences you've had. You agreed to have these things because you knew that you were promised to achieve something that your soul wanted to achieve by having this experience. And it's something really spectacular, I'm hearing. It's something that not a lot of people experience in their human lifetime. But it was promised to you. But you were going to have to go through certain hardships, certain difficulties, certain experiences that most people wouldn't choose to go through because they're very difficult. And you signed up for the challenge because you wanted to experience this amazing thing that was promised to you. But Spirit said you could only have that if you were willing to go through the human experience that you're having in this lifetime. And it's not something that, again, like most people would choose to go through. Most people would never choose consciously to go through the things that humans go through. This is one of the most difficult places that a soul can incarnate, Earth. And of course, none of us realize that when we incarnate here. Most people say, why would I choose these very difficult circumstances to live through? Something's really, really terrible. And some people leave the earth without ever waking up to the realization that they're a soul, just having a human experience in order to have those experiences. God sends out fractals of itself out into the world, into the universe, just to have experiences everywhere. And these fractals of God have a soul component, without getting into all of the story about how all of that works. But the soul component incarnates. It has the ability to incarnate in all different kinds of forms, and incarnating on earth is one of the most difficult things that you can do as a soul. And it's because you're lowering down into the third dimension, and this is a very heavy, difficult place. There is not a single soul that comes to earth and has it easy in every single aspect of its life. Not a single soul is what Spirit is saying. Some people, when you look at their lives from the outside, you might think they have it easy, but there's always things about their lives that you don't know, that you don't see, that are difficult. There's not a single soul that doesn't come here and experience difficult challenges. And your soul chose to have some particularly difficult challenges that most people, the majority of people I'm hearing, don't go through. But the majority of people also don't get to experience this thing that you were promised before you incarnated here, some kind of experience that is really amazing, really spectacular. And Spirit's saying, don't give up. That thing that you know, like intuitively deep in your soul, that you are going to receive this. It feels like a reward for all the difficulties you've gone through. And you've had glimmers of it. You've seen aspects of it because you've gotten really close to it before. But there were still things that your spirit, your soul, like it chose to experience, like really challenging things. I'm seeing like this vision of a person who chooses like the hardest things to go through. Like I'm seeing actually like an athlete who engages in a very difficult sport, and they're the ones that show up early and who stay late and who take on the biggest challenges, the most difficult plays. I don't know, I'm seeing like football. I love football, but I don't really know everything about the sport. But it's like the person that chooses the most difficult position and the most difficult complex plays because they just want to learn and grow and get better. And your soul keeps saying, no, wait, I need to learn or experience more. I need to set up another challenge for myself. And your soul's doing this in the background, and your human self is like, oh my God, are you serious? Do I need to actually go through anything else? I've learned enough lessons. I've experienced enough hardship. I get it. On some level, you're saying that to yourself. And you're like, I'm done. I'm ready for my reward. And your soul is like, oh, but we could still do X, Y, Z. We could still go through this hard challenge, and we have what it takes. We can get through it. And damn if you don't. You go through it, and you do get through it on the other side. And you can look back at your life right now and see some of the most difficult things you've been through. And there's something profound that you learned in that, or some way it changed you that you now think is for the better for yourself and has improved your life in some way. And your soul keeps wanting to do these challenges. And it's kind of like the soul is a little bit, I'm going to say clueless, because it's kind of how it feels. Like your soul likes to be challenged and is going to sign up for the most difficult lives, not just this life this time, but in all the different incarnations your particular soul is choosing. It's choosing the most difficult ones. It's like the actor that chooses the most complex roles. Like I said, it's like the athlete that chooses the most difficult, painful sport. It's the person that incarnates with the desire to, I don't know, invent something really, really difficult, that requires an extreme level of an intelligence. And, I'm thinking like an astrophysicist or something, like your soul is having all these different lifetimes that are always challenging. And that's kind of like this essence of your soul that kind of is the same in all the lifetimes it has. That is always going to be something challenging. But okay, so this is something else that's coming through. The reward for your soul, ultimately, when it's done having all the incarnations it's going to have, is you are going to be an ascended master. Wow. That's your goal. Your soul has to go through all of the challenges it's having on Earth, on I'm seeing other planets, other dimensions, other places that we can't even fathom. Your soul is going to have all these experiences, and then it's going to keep ascending into higher and higher dimensions and eventually become an ascended master, so you can guide other souls that incarnate on earth, because you have realized that your earth incarnations have been the most challenging of all the places that you've been, and you want to serve other humans and as an ascended master, and you are going to be helping so many people deal with extremely difficult lives, and you are going to be there for them. Gosh, I like want to cry. You know, people who go through really, really difficult lives have so much support for them, and they don't always realize it. And that just, I mean, it really does break my heart when I think of how much help there is in the spirit realm. Like, there's so many angels. Oh God, I didn't know I was going to cry. You're surrounded by so many angels and ascended masters, star beings, your ancestors. Shit. Oh, it's messing up my makeup. Everybody who has a difficult life, you have so much support, and it does break my heart, because not everybody wakes up to that in every lifetime, that they have that available to them. But they'll reincarnate in another lifetime and have that support, and they'll wake up, they'll spiritually awaken and realize they have so many helpers in the spirit realm. But we have to wake up to that. We have to remember that they can't just intervene and say, hey, here I am, I can help you. You know, there has to be something that happens for that soul, and if that soul doesn't, or that human I should say, doesn't awaken in that lifetime, it's okay. That's just how it was meant to be in that lifetime. They were meant to go through life without spiritual support, because that's what their soul wanted to have. I'm saying this like, this is, your soul has come to earth many times and had difficult lives where it wasn't connected to spirit at all, like didn't remember. It's just a soul having a human experience, but that's part of what your soul wanted to have, lifetimes where it didn't have that spiritual connection. And we have to also remember, spirit is saying that there are many people on the planet at this time and over all times where there are people who don't ever awaken in that lifetime. And all that means, awakening just means that you remember that you are just a soul having a human experience. But ultimately, this is just one stop that your soul has. Not everybody awakens to that in every lifetime. And we have to just give people grace and understand that some people come here to have very difficult lives and experiences because that's what their soul wanted to do in that lifetime. And they weren't ever going to wake up. So, you know, we can't convince people, we can't wake other people up if their soul didn't come here to do that. So that's just kind of like a little side message. But well, hang in there. Your promise is coming. God keeps his promises to all of us. I don't know if I'm going to post this. This is ridiculous. Ooh, I've been feeling so emotional today. Anyway, just hang in there. God loves you, and your soul is supporting you too, and saying, it's okay, we came here, we decided to do this together. And I do believe that I'm talking to people who do realize that they have a spirit team around them, but maybe not as involved in their lives or able to be involved in their lives as they can be. So spirit is asking you to be more intentional about reaching out to your spirit team, because you have an enormous spirit team. I mean, I am seeing like a legion of angels and galactic beings especially that are here to support you. And if you start intentionally connecting with them, you are going to feel their presence in your life and their assistance, and it's going to make things so much easier. Okay, I better stop now before I continue crying. I'm sending you so much love, and I'll see you soon. Bye.